What is up, God Gamers, and welcome back to a meta report for week 2 of 13.14b. And guys, I have played over 150 games of this patch. I have yo-yoed from Grandmaster to Master 0 OP, all the way back up to Grandmaster again, and we're making a push for Shurima Cup. So I really think the meta has clicked for me, and I really think the meta has stabilized quite a lot, especially in North America. I'm not sure how it's going on in China and other strong regions, that sort of thing. But for here, it has really stabilized, and there's really two dominant strategies that have been prevailing, and the two dominant strategies being Freljord AD Flex and playing Dragon King. Now, there are a bunch of other comps that you can play, but I would not consider this patch to be like a true flex patch. What I mean by that is, like, you can't just like build items and go, I'll build AD items and I'll play Yasuo if I hit Yasuo. I'll play Aphelios if I hit Aphelios. It's not really like that. Like the other comps that are successful, like Challengers, like Shurimas, like Noxus and that sort of thing, those comps are more specific to like how your game started. Like if you get a Challenger emblem drop, or you have a 4 Challenger opener, and then like you get a Challenger emblem later, or like, and then you're like building the Yasuo items, building the Kaisa items, and like, cool, you can play Challengers. But your cap is going to be a little bit lower than some of the Freljord builds and that sort of thing. So like the point is, if you want like a base template to play from, we're going to be playing around Freljord Flex. And then if you do take a soul, then you have the Dragon King option whenever you get a prismatic opener. Or if you've been practicing the comp a lot, you can play a the gold augment opener, and then you just take some of the econ augments later. But that video, honestly, that's my playstyle right now, but I probably would need to do a separate video on Dragon King again to kind of talk about it. But anyways, so let's talk about Freljord Flex, because that's the main thing we're going to talk about. And there's other comps you can play. Again, like Sork Lux is really strong, but you can't just like decide to play it. It's like really you play it if you get a Sork +1 opener, if you get a Sork Heart or a Sork Emblem, or if you just get a really powerful Sork opener, then you can just like hope for the emblem. Or if you're playing like Placinium Library, then like that's really good. You can play Ionias, right? If you get a Ionia emblem opener, or you are playing on Placinium Library, there's some other things you can play. You can play Zeri in the Freljord Flex, but you can just play Piltover Zeri if like you get a Piltover opener and the Zon is anything but Exoskeleton and Chemtank. You can usually play those comps, right? You can play Ravenous Hunter, Warwick, right? But you need the augment drop, right? You can play Talia, but you need True Twos, or you need Double Trouble, right? You can play the Talia reroll build. So there are other comps that you can play. Like, don't let me tell you that there's not other comps you can play, but really the dominant strategy is playing around the Freljord Flex. And as you can see, it is the highest pick rate, so it's very contested. But let me show you guys. I'm going to open up Mobalytics right here, and I'm just kind of teach you guys how to play the Freljord Flex a little bit, because this is, I default to Freljord Flex if I don't have the option to play the Legendary comp, and I'll talk a little bit about the Legendary comp as well. And maybe I'll talk a little bit about my actual climbing strategy here, but again, I think that deserves its own separate video, because it's like my own, like it's my own playstyle that I'm doing, that is not necessarily indicative of how everyone else is playing. Okay, so this is the base that you play from. Pretty simple, right? The 3 Freljord units. You play from this base, and typically when you play Freljord Flex, you want to have at least 2 combat augments. I mean, that's pretty standard for most builds, obviously, but you really want to have 2 combat augments, things like LDP, things like, yeah, you guys get it. Just the strong combat augments is stuff you want to be taking. I feel like social distancing, all that good stuff. Contagion. Typically, yeah, 1 econ plus 2 combat, or triple combat if you're going to be playing Ornn or that sort of thing. It's going to be your best bet. This is the base that you play from, and then you just add units from here. So let's say you have like a Rageblade Deathblade, right? We're probably going to play Aphelios. But again, if the Zeri is good, so if the Zon is anything but Exoskeleton and Chemtank, you pick up the Zeris on your roll down, because if you don't hit if you're trying to play Aphelios and you don't hit, then just play the you can play Zeri. That's all good. So let's say we have Aphelios items, boom, we just do that. And then from there, you just add frontline that makes sense. Like whatever you hit, really. So we're playing Aphelios, we probably want to play Taric, right? Since we're playing Taric, we probably want to play Shin. Boom, that gives us Invoker, that gives us this. That's a lot of frontline there. And then from there, you play whatever legendaries you hit typically, or you can just base a 4 Deadeye. So if you have additional 80 items, like you're playing Ornn, you can play Akshan with 80 items here, and then Urgot with your BT Titans, that sort of thing, or with just flat 80 items are fine on Urgot sometimes. So you can play 4 Deadeye from here, or additionally, you can play some legendaries. So let's say you hit Scion. Boom, we can play Scion. And let's say you have enough gold to play Heimerdinger. Boom, we'll play Heimerdinger. Is that 8 units? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Cool, this is a base board that we can play. Now, what if you're on your roll down, you don't hit Shin, but you hit a Nasus, and you hit an Aatrox? Woo. There's some really flexible front lines we can play here. So we have Aatrox. We have, where is Nasus? Cool, we can play Nasus. Probably want to put him in the center over there. We have Nasus, and so we're going to be playing that. Play some Gwen, and then especially if we hit Senna, boom, this is a really strong front line here. And now we have a really strong front line. We have the Redeemer passive. We have Shadow Owls. Gwen is actually a decent frontliner once you have Senna on the comp. So we can just look like this. Anyways, the point is you just play whatever frontline you hit and then play based off your items. You got Auction items, play Auction main carry. You got Aphelios items, play Aphelios main carry, and then you can flex the Zeri if the Zeri is good. And this is essentially how people play this. Now, here is the legendary comp. If you guys want to play Dragon King, now this is whenever it is if you're taking Asol as your guy and you get a prismatic opener. If you don't know what you're doing, like if you've practiced the comp a lot, you can play it in other circumstances. But if you really don't know what you're doing and you're trying it for the first time, for the first time you want to try this is whenever you get a prismatic opener. And that's when we're going to be taking level up. When you take level up, typically you econ early. You gotta buy units where people kind of mess up on the Dragon King strategy. And again, I play a lot of Dragon King. I've been climbing very hard with it. What a lot of people mess up when they play Dragon King strategy is they try to not hold units. Like you don't want to push aggressively with your levels. You're going to naturally level to 4 early on in the game with everyone else because of the way level up works. So you're going to naturally level to 4. You don't want to push levels early, and you want to be weak, and you want to make your econ threshold, but typically you do need to hold some units because you can't just lose 15 rounds in a row. You can, but you got to be taking good losses. Like you got to get really lucky if you're going to do that. You need to hold some units because you need to save some HP. If you save some HP and you level to 9, like if you save 30 HP and you level to 9 1 round later, like that's worth, right? Rather than like leveling to 9 at 9 HP. Like you really want to have 2 lives when you level to 9. So you do want to hold some units, but you do want to make your econ thresholds. It's kind of a little bit of a dance you got to play there. But essentially the strategy is you play Ahri main carry and then you side carry either Aatrox or you side carry Belveth. It's just whoever you have items for and whoever you hit. Their items are quite flexible, although you can't play RFC on Aatrox. It's not good. So don't do that. And if you're just not a nowhere about Aatrox, just like if you're getting ready to type in chat right now, oh, this moron mode is playing Aatrox carry. I thought Aatrox is where you're just not a nowhere. Aatrox is a beast. Once you have this setup, once you get Gwen, Aatrox, and Senna, Aatrox is that guy at Aatrox 2. He is quite good. And this is the front line this is the team that I run every single game that I look to play. If you don't hit set, you can play Karma right here. And I don't play Rise I play Rise on every single portal except for Shadow Isles. I do not like Shadow Isles Rise, but every single other portal, I'm great with it. The best one is Hextech, because whenever he throws that Hextech grenade and then Ahri casts at the same time, it actually makes Ahri's cast deal more damage. And so the itemization is just a blue buff, Jeweled Gauntlet +1. It can also be a Sojin plus Archangel, whatever. I have found, and I've been playing this quite a bit, that Ahri items don't really matter that much. Like, they do matter, but not really. Like, if you can build other items that are not necessarily the best items, like you build like a Rage Blade and stuff, like you just build whatever is strong for your board earlier on in the game. Like, all you need is 1 AP item on Ahri, and if she casts later, it's fine, as long as she does cast. Like, you're chilling. Now, when you're in the mirror matchup of another Ahri, if the other Ahri has the perfect items, you're going to probably lose. But I have found that I just build whatever makes sense for my current board to save HP. And then there's a lot of spots to put items. So if I built like Rage Blade, it goes here, right? If I built Sojin and a blue buff, then I have a Sojin and a blue buff, right? If I built hard AD items, it goes on my Belveth or my Aatrox. So that's pretty much where it goes. And it's pretty simple. So another way... so typically that's how you play it. Now you can play the Asol strat with just the gold augment opener, but I do think it takes a little bit more practice. You take the gold augment opener, and sometimes you just straight up take triple econ in that situation, because you don't need a combat augment if you have like 4 2-star legendaries. Who needs a combat augment for that comp? You know what I'm saying? So that is something that I consider when I do that. And I'll briefly talk about my actual climbing strategy, because as I said, I at the beginning of the patch, I was in Grandmaster. I was riding to Cloud 9, you know what I'm saying? I was chilling. And then I went down to 0 LP trying to figure out how to play this patch. Kind of tilted a little bit as well. And now I'm yo-yoing back up once I discovered the Dragon King. Because the way that I play Dragon King is if I have level up, I'm going 9 no matter what. Like if I start the game with level up, I'm going 9 no matter what. And if you get hedge fund mid game, oh my God. I had a game where I was level 10, 70 gold when the game ended. No big deal. I always take Dragon King's augment unless it's the silver tier at 2-1. And so even if I take the gold augment, I may not go 9. But what I do every game is, and this has been working really well for me, is I take the gold augment, and then at 3-2, I will typically take a combat augment unless I have a fast 9 angle and I just want to get the 9 really fast, and I'll take an econ. I'll take triple econ. Like if I have the angle to take triple econ and be at 4-2, 50 gold, level 9 with 2 lives, I'm taking it. I'm gonna do that because it's very likely I'm gonna go first, and if not, my placement's gonna be pretty decent because I will hit some 2-star legendaries very early on in the game if I know that I can hit that amount of gold at 4-2 and be on 2 lives. I know that I can. Now, if I don't have that angle, I will take a combat on 3-2, and then on 4-2, I'll take a combat on 3-2, and typically I can get an early level 7. I can like roll down on 3-5, level 7, contest for, and I'm gonna be trying to play Freljord Flex. I'll contest for the Sejuanis, the Tereks, the Shins, whatever front line I'm trying to contest for. I'll contest for those front lines. I'll get my copies of my units. And then on 4-2, I'll take it pays to learn, go level 8, and I almost always hit my entire board. Because I just have way more gold than anyone else in the game. Everyone's contesting for this comp. And it doesn't matter if they took triple combat because I hit the comp and now they can't hit the comp because I contested the units. And typically when I do that, it makes my placement very decent. So I'll go for anywhere from 3rd to 6th usually when I do that because I just default to that. And that is like going to be a net LP gain for me because the games where I have the Dragon King angle, I go first. And games where I don't have the Dragon King, or I go first or I get very good placement usually. And games where I don't have the angle to go to 9, then I get a very solid placement. Even if I don't top 4, I'm not going bot 2 because I took the econ augments. I'm guaranteed to hit something. And it's very likely I top 4, but sometimes I just go 5th or 6th, and that's fine. I lose a little bit of LP, and I gain it all back and then some once I go level 9 here. And so I think those are the 2 dominant strategies on the patch, and that is how I have been playing the patch and been successful on it. Now, again, there are other comps you can play. Like, again, if you got the Noxus opener, Noxus is very strong. If you got a Piltover opener, you know, you can play some Piltover comps. I don't think Kale is very good. Again, you can play the Double Trouble Talia. That is a very strong comp. You get Double Trouble, True 2s, that sort of thing. If you get Riftwalker, sometimes you can play the Riftwalk comp. I think Void is really good to stabilize on. And if you get 2 Void emblems and you can hit your Baron very easily, that's very good. There's that Cho Bidum comp out there right now. I don't think that comp is actually very good, but if you want to have some fun, you can play that comp. There's some like high roll Shadow Isle stuff, but you need 2 Shadow Isle emblems. It's like you can play Strategist Zir, but I don't think it's that good. You can play Shurima, like Vertical Shurima, but I think that comp is really only playable on like truly playable on like Placidium Library, or if you have Shurima's Legacy on Placidium Library, or if you have an emblem opener, that sort of thing, and you get it, then that comp can be good. But I really think the meta is really built around Freljord Flex and playing Ahri, playing the Flex legendary comp. Anyways, guys, that is it for the video. Good luck climbing. I'm gonna try to make a push for Shurima comp. I hope I can make it. I need about 400 more LP. I got about 2 days to do it. I do have a busy day today, and I have some sponsorship obligations on Sunday. So I'm gonna really try to grind as hard as I can on Saturday, and hopefully I can make it, play in a tournament. I haven't played in a tournament. I haven't played in an official Riot tournament since Set 6 Zon Cup. So I am gonna really try to make a push since we're climbing pretty decent on the patch. But I might just send it 88888 and the dream is dead. But we'll see. But anyways, guys, hope you guys have a good climb on the rest of the patch. Love you all. I love TFT.